And Justin Wolfers, what is your response to that? I mean, this is what the president argued in his EO. It said that the H-1B program has been deliberately exploited to replace rather than supplement American workers with lower paid, low skilled labor. Do you believe that that's true?
Let's just look at the rules of the program. You can't bring in the guest worker at lower wages. You have to pay them according to what they call the local prevailing wage for that occupation. So if there are reasons to have concerns about this program, and I think there's always ways in which we can improve things, it's about actually making sure we enforce the rules. But this program, let's not let the perfect be the enemy of the good. This program has a lot of benefits. Let me explain it this way. Economics is like baking a cake. You put a whole lot of ingredients into the mixing bowl and we bake our economic cake. Sometimes, though, in America, we discover there's a particular ingredient we don't have enough of. And so what we do is we Instacart that ingredient, which is we offer an H-1B visa so we can keep baking that beautiful cake. If you can't bring in someone who has that ingredient that we need, what are we going to do? We could quit baking. That's going to hurt Americans. You could keep baking, but if you can't get the ingredient you need, you could use an inferior ingredient. Well, that means we're going to bake worse cake. Or instead of baking the cake, we could just buy it, which in this context would mean importing it from abroad rather than making it in America. So the point is, if this program works as it's meant to, it helps all of us bake the economic cake that keeps all of us productive.
Justin, a question about the efficacy. Do you believe that raising the fee for these visas will have the intended effect, meaning more American workers are hired?
So the White House's theory of the case is you charge a high price for something and people do less of it, which is to say fewer firms will apply for H-1B visas. There'll be fewer skilled workers enter the United States. The question is, what next? One way to think about this is maybe those skilled workers from abroad are a substitute who take the jobs of Americans. That's the White House's theory. A different theory is when I work at my computer, I'm working with a machine. That machine makes me more productive. It's a complement. Maybe if I were working with a high-skilled STEM worker from abroad, that would make me more productive, and that would actually lead to greater employment of Americans. Look, this isn't a question of economic theory. What we can simply do is look at the data. What has happened in the past when the government has cut back on H-1B visas? The very best available research says it has almost no effect on the employment levels of Americans. But the more that we allow foreign scientists to come in and help turbocharge innovation, in fact, it turns out that the wages of college-educated Americans tend to rise, and the wages of non-college educated Americans tend to rise, but not as much. The idea here is if you get enough of the right skills, you can make everyone in the firm collectively more productive, and therefore they get paid a bit more.